Joyce, we don't have any new loan servicing requests.
We do not.
So, everything that you we reported last time is still as it was. We had two loans that had not started appropriately in terms of repayment.
Sure.
One of those cleared themselves up that day, the Valley Vet one. So that was
okay.
just a matter of not paying close enough attention to the mail. But beyond that, the other one is in legal status, and we are using a conflict attorney. So if you hear a different name, this is necessitated by the fact that City Attorney Terry Chiglo has a relationship legally with other parties in the potential resolution of all this. So we are using Mr. Weiser out of LaCrescent, and he has taken it and is going through the steps. He's been in contact. The party has retained counsel also from Caledonia, I believe, Jed Hummel, and he has advised his client to do certain things, which at this point we haven't been able to verify whether any of that's been done, but we'll continue to watch that. And essentially it involves repaying the loan, starting to pay the loan and that type of thing.
Okay.
So it'll, at this point it's just going to have to go through that process and see where we end up at.
Okay. Number 2.
There are 60 loans that started on automatic payments as of August 1. So my last conversation with Kathy, she expected that to go
Great. 16, you said?
yes, that's what I'm calling her. Then there are a couple more that will be starting here shortly.
Go ahead.
Initially, there weren't enough to make it pay, and then it took a little bit of doing to get it all set up.
So we are collecting roughly how much a month is it?
That 15,474, almost 475.
15,000 a month.
Oh, okay.
And that'll gradually increase as more start paying.
That'd be October before, and we have one more added on in November, and then that carries through the end of the year, right? There's only 2 more for this year that will come on to additionally.
What was the value of that amount? That was
Let's see. That was 178.08.
so that one for sure is added on there, right?
And so all the back payments were just brought up to
Yeah.
current.
Any questions or concerns regarding that? If not, you move on to 5B. And as you see, consideration of a request from Rushford EDA. I think this was discussed at the last meeting, if I remember right. And you have a document before you from, what is the?
Fifth Street Architectural Design.
Yeah.
Services. Mr. Chair, in trying to find a way to move forward on a positive basis, because I think Mr. Fox is at a point where he has signed some documentation that gives him certain abilities to move forward in that regard, particularly in the manufacturing area. His request to the city has been he'll need assistance in developing a manufacturing facility, and then we have the follow-up discussion of that is how do we collect and reward that at the same time back to the developer of the business who's asking for incentives in that regard. So taking that subject aside for now, because that's a whole other discussion.
Sure.
The first step is, do we want to get involved in the building as we've been asked? And it would seem that to do that intelligently, we're going to need an architect.
Yes.
And so we've worked with this architect and being familiar with them and their flexibility and the fact that they are willing to come to Rushford and they don't nickel and dime you for every time they come over here and talk to you or talk to you on the phone. This group, I asked them to put together description of how they might assist us in getting that done. And had them break down the different phases and what that would cost us, because at any point, a phase could end, you know, and the project could end, if we're not moving in the direction that everybody is comfortable with. So phase one, schematic and design development, not surprisingly, has already at least had a test run with some folks attending, some service providers, as well as this particular architect. And they've gone through and have at least a conceptual idea of what they want to build. I think we've provided that to you in the past. And he sees that, you know, certainly as the start of this, and providing the preliminary plans and elevations, and doing the site plan review with the building location, all the rules and regs that go with building a building of this nature, and having a working group on site as to how many people you need to park for and all that kind of stuff. The preliminary mechanical, electrical, and plumbing system information, and then providing preliminary building and site construction numbers. Those are the numbers we need to begin finalizing, or at least conceptualizing the lease. Now, I'll talk about that in a second. Then he moves on to this phase two, where we have construction documents and bidding. And I won't read through all of that, but that would be the next phase. And providing an opportunity to use those bids to garner the best quality product as well as price, and we can talk about whether we want to do value, any kind of value bidding, or just regular old bidding. There'll be options. And then certainly the construction, once we receive a bid, then we have the construction and contract administration. And then he's added a phase four dealing with LEED certification, and whether or not ultimately we want this building to be LEED certified, and what price we're willing to pay to get that, because there is a price, and it may have the benefits that we're seeking, and again, it'll be your decision as to whether or not maybe there aren't the benefits. So he thinks that's something we want to set aside for additional discussion. And then talking about the fee proposal on the third page of it, and got him to outline for us what those costs would be. The phase one quoted at $15,000. Phase two at 3.7 of the total construction costs, and then 1.2 of the total construction costs, and the LEED estimated somewhere in the neighborhood of $35,000 to $55,000. And certainly I've seen proposals where that number reaches for some buildings 60 to 100,000. So I think the numbers appear doable, and certainly within the scope of.
So I went in and back up. You said the number. What
The 35 to 55
reaches 60.
I usually see 60 to 100 is what I've been seeing. So that's what we're looking at, and at this point, he's open to working in whatever way we want. But it seems to me that because the city is being asked to build the building, it's essential that we take more of a lead role and not just push it off on the developer. The developer's building, obviously, they do all this stuff, and we're out of it. But because of the building, the chance that the building could end up being a city property forever, you may need to reuse it for another purpose. If that be the case, we need to know all the detail of this building, make sure we have it. There are some special needs for this building that we need to be aware of, such as the footings and that type of thing for vibration. So I guess at this point, I'm suggesting to you that we need to get permission to move forward with phase one, so that we can get started, and that is an economic cost to us. And so your recommendation to the city council would be that you're seeking their approval of moving into phase one and creating a contract that would obligate you to $15,000.